Hello everybody. Okay, I'm going to preface this video with a little disclaimer. This message does not encompass a general audience who has disagreements with certain aspects of any Star Wars project or a Star Wars project as a whole. You're allowed to dislike parts of Star Wars. You'll see what I mean in a bit, but I think there's something else behind the belligerent hate for Star Wars films, comics, novels, and series since Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney. So I ask you, is it really the stories they are being openly toxic about, or is it the company that owns the stories that they're upset with? Welcome to my channel, everyone. I'm Gerald and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, so what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe now. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead on with today's topic. Also, before I move on, just to let you guys know, this will be a rant video, not overly negative, just some things I've noticed and some epiphanies that have come to me. How many of you are tired of being attacked for liking certain aspects of the Star Wars content, especially newer content? Whether it be the sequel trilogy, The Mandalorian, the High Republic era, or the Book of Boba Fett. Of course, this isn't limited to those subjects, but most recently, those are the biggest to inflame a debate. And I'm not talking about a minor disagreement or a small debate where you both hash out your differences and walk away and smile and still be friends. I'm talking about covering ears, shouting la 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 la, then resorting to name calling. Sometimes the insults could include Star Wars is dead, you're stupid for liking that or disliking that, Disney ruined Star Wars, and one of my favorites, how good is that paycheck from Disney? That's when I shut down. I'll never call someone an idiot for their opinions. I will call them an idiot for their actions, though. And personal attacks or just blatant hate because they are toxic. But I've discovered there's a reason they do it. Well, for some of them, there's a reason why they do it. And I'll get to that in just a bit. And it isn't necessarily the stories coming out of the Disney era of Star Wars, per se. Sure, there are parts of the stories they may not like. But there are parts of the stories we all have issue with. And not just the Disney era, but we have issues, small issues, with everything created. Not because we hate it, but because we take pride in what we like. If you frequent Facebook groups as I do, you'll see the hate shouting at the top of their lungs. I've tried to leave the groups that have a high concentration of this type of behavior, but it seems that for whatever reason, there is a positive Star Wars conversation and logical debate, you'll see that obligatory Disney ruined Star Wars. And there it is. But before I go into detail about that, I'd like to lay out some facts. The first being the obvious, Disney does not write Star Wars material. They give the money and the distribution to Lucasfilm Products. Yes, they own Lucasfilm, but Lucasfilm runs their own company within the parameters of their parent company, just as they did under George Lucas. Meaning, they create the material, so long as it doesn't embarrass the owners. And if Star Wars had embarrassed Disney before the purchase, they would not have bought it. Embarrassments cause stocks to plummet. No, writers are hired to create the Star Wars stories within the parameters of the Star Wars story group. They don't work for Lucasfilm and they don't work for Disney. They are subcontractors under contract to write these stories. Disney can make suggestions. Even Kathleen Kennedy can suggest things, but they don't write the content. It isn't only that way with Star Wars, it's the same way with Marvel, Pixar, ESPN, and any ABC series or movie or anything under the Disney umbrella. But we won't exclude other corporations that own films and movies. HBO. Same structure. That includes Warner Brothers. Every single film and story creating industry operates in this manner. Disney does not write the stories, neither do other owners. I really don't think I could have said that any slower or choppier. But let's look at it in a different way. An NFL team or American football. And by the way, we call it football because the ball is a foot long. Anyways, you have the NFL team. The NFL team has coaches, players, owners, that kind of thing. Owners do not get the touchdown. Owners do not go out and make the plays. Owners don't call down and make the plays. They make suggestions, but they don't call down and make the plays. That's up to the coaches. That's up to the players. So, if a team wins a game, yes, the owners paid for it and made sure the game happened, but they didn't make the plays. They're not down there physically exhausting themselves. It's the little people. All right, so let me move on to another fact. George Lucas himself traded Lucasfilm stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. That made Lucasfilm a corporation long before Disney bought it. Another great fact, George Lucas sold Lucasfilm and Star Wars for $4.1 billion. That's a lot of money, but that isn't all he's made off of it. Reports and financial earnings show that he has made more than double that since he sold it. He now sits at around $10 billion revenue from Lucasfilm and Star Wars just in the past 10 years from his stock holdings he still owns. So when someone says Disney only cares about money, they're a multinational company that employ 223,000 people. 2,000 of those people are Star Wars alone. How many does George Lucas have on his payroll, aside from his assistants, butlers, maids, and nannies? None. At least none that were made public of. He doesn't own a corporation. So his $10 billion that he has made in the last 10 years goes straight to him. He isn't creating anything with it. He isn't feeding families, and I'm not opposed to what he's doing with his money. It's his money. He was a creative genius for making Star Wars and deserves every penny of what he has. My argument is that while Disney is being trashed for being a corporation, they have 223,000 employees with families. Their money doesn't all go to Bob Chapek. Yes, he makes a nice salary, but that's what happens when you're at the top. Right or wrong, that's the way it is. This isn't about capitalism or being for it or against it. It's about misplaced anger. The hate and anger we get from those who call themselves fans is aimed at those who enjoy the franchise, all because they don't like Disney. Why, though? Because they own a large portion of the entertainment industry? Or is it because they seem to own the biggest titles in the entertainment industry? But this hate doesn't stop at good old-fashioned anti-capitalism. At least not at the level of the average movie-going fan. There are a lot of people, in my opinion, spewing their hate for Star Wars projects on their YouTube channels. They have been disguising their hatred for Disney by saying they hate the stories coming from the Disney era. And they're using their influence over the fandom to perpetuate the hate. I know everyone's going to say, I can make up my own mind as to what I like. And you're right. Everyone has that ability. But when the rhetoric is all the same as what we're hearing everywhere, remember, from those toxic fans, then you're no longer making up your own mind. You're using judgment that someone else has presented to you. And that person has hundreds of thousands of followers to influence their reasoning. And I've said it a million times. It's okay to dislike something, but it's not okay to hate on someone who disagrees with you. And that goes for the other side, too. If you like something and somebody else doesn't, it doesn't give you a reason to be a dick to them. Just casually disagree and say, okay, well, whatever. We believe what we believe. But now we know the toxicity derives from the hatred of Disney itself. Let's look at other origins of the hate. They call themselves fans. There's no way to fact check that, so we don't know if they're being honest or not. Buying merchandise, filling a room with it, and getting all their information from Wikipedia is not a fan. Am I able to say someone is not a true fan? Of course not. Everyone celebrates the franchise in their own way, but if they've never seen a movie or a show and they're hating on it, or they've seen everything and they're loving on it and hating other people, what I'm saying is that there are those who pose as fans just to take jabs at Disney, even going as far as buying merchandise like a hat here or a t-shirt there and saying, getting on camera saying, I'm a fan, I've been a fan since the beginning. Well, you're too young to be a fan since the beginning, so stop saying that. Well, I'll let you know something. When you buy merchandise, it goes to Disney as well, so you're still supporting them. So the next time you see someone say Star Wars is dead on a Star Wars fan site, YouTube channel, or Facebook group, just ask them why they are on a Star Wars fan page with thousands of fans keeping it alive to begin with. If capitalism is the enemy and they want George Lucas back, he's a capitalist too. Not hating on the guy, I have mad respect for the creator. I just like to call things what they are. He can say he's anti-capitalism all he wants, but, he's sitting in a mansion with $10 billion from the sale of Lucasfilm and Star Wars. And by the way, don't forget, George Lucas kept all merchandising royalty rights when he was making the original 3 films. So every action figure you bought, every t-shirt, lunchbox, toilet paper roll with Star Wars on it, contributed to his bank. But I'll also say this. We were never allowed on Skywalker Ranch unless you worked there or you didn't mind jail time. At least now we can go to Galaxy's Edge at Disney World. Disneyland, Euro Disney, and I'm not sure if Japan Disney has it, but at least we have a chance to go there. Sure, it's a bit pricey, but unless you were considered a somebody of importance by George Lucas, no amount of money would get you into his playland. Again, I'm not dogging the guy. I wouldn't want anyone just coming up to my place of business or home either. But Disney created an entire world for us to go to and be immersed in Star Wars. Let's not forget all those influencers whose feelings were hurt when their theories and speculations were completely wrong, and they still get them wrong a lot. Some even got famous for their incorrect theories. I've had my own theories that haven't happened, but I don't get upset about it because I take that risk when I speculate and theorize, and then I put it out there for the world to see. I'm not a soothsayer. I don't have tarot cards or a magic glass ball I confide in. I'm just a guy with nothing more than clues to work off of. If I misread those clues, that's my own fault. I don't hate on the franchise for my own incorrect ideas. To me, that's stupid. It takes a lot of arrogance to think you have to be correct or the franchise, film, series is stupid. Nope, that just isn't the way it works. It wasn't predictable, and that's the way it worked. Makes it a good story. Then there are the ones who think choreographed dance fighting is realistic, but we'll get into that in another video at another time. But when they say Star Wars is dead, you are proof that it isn't. You're here listening and watching about Star Wars. You're learning about Star Wars. You're watching Star Wars on TV. You're going to the movies and seeing Star Wars. It isn't dead. The point of this is that you shouldn't take their hate to heart. Yeah, I get a little annoyed by it and make these videos to relieve my frustrations. And once in a while, I like to have fun with the haters. But at the end of the day, we're all people and we like what we like and dislike in the same way. But I will not be bullied. I'm way too feisty for that, and I'm way too old to put up with high school antics. And they damn sure will not say I'm not a true Star Wars fan. They don't know me. They can say it all they want, but they're going to be inaccurate and probably stupid. Thank you all for listening to yet another rant. I promise to limit these moving forward, but let me know what you think. Does this make sense that the haters are actually really just against Disney and that a lot of them may not even be Star Wars fans? Or some of them are just listening to what's being perpetuated on the internet? Let me know in the comments and I'll pick the best one to highlight at the end of my next video. Now it's time for today's best comment. Today's comment comes from, let me make sure I don't butcher your name, PKL. From my last video about whether or not there will be a second season to the Book of Boba Fett, PKL had this to say. I found more positives than negatives. I hope there is a second season. 7 episodes were a tease. And I agree with this completely. 7 episodes and most were under 50 minutes. That was just enough to whet my palate without satiating my thirst. Bring me more. Thank you for the great comment, and thank you all for the wonderful comments. Keep them coming. I do read them all, and I try to respond accordingly. This is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatic signing off. Until next time, wishing you all great health and happiness. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.